Hi everyone, Languages Lover here and welcome to the second to last part of Step by Step to Fluency. In this video, you'll find out how to go from intermediate to advanced. Stay tuned, but before starting, quick reminder, hit the subscribe button, share the channel if you like my videos, and let's get started. I've already mentioned that you should reach an advanced level if you achieve these points. But to be more precise, on the chart of the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, you should reach a C1 level, which is one step below complete mastery. Do you remember cases? You know, those different word endings that we already talked about in part 2 of the series? Well, at an advanced stage, you should have no problem differentiating the language's cases. And no matter how many cases there are in the language you're learning, whether it be German with only 4 cases or heck, Hungarian with 18 cases, you know the difference between all these cases. And for my example, I chose Russian, which has 6 cases, and you'll see in a couple seconds that I actually used 6 different colors to show the different cases in these 6 sentences. Alright, so first off we have the nominative in red. So, mój ojciec здесь, which is my father is here. For the accusative, we have the color green. Я вижу тебя. Who do you see? It's you. So ты becomes тебя. Alright, for the dative, я даю книгу тебе. I give what? Книгу. So книгу is the accusative and therefore it takes the accusative endings. Тебе is to you, so the dative case. Next up we have it's my father's car. Это машина моего отца. Whose car is this? My father. So it goes in the genitive case. And as for the prepositional, we have я в школе. And it follows a preposition. But keep in mind, some prepositions follow a certain case, so not always prepositional. But in this case, я в школе, it's the prepositional case to mean I'm at school right now. And last but not least, for Russian, we have the instrumental case, which is, for example, always followed by the s preposition, which means with. So, for example, I work with you is я работаю с тобой. So, as you can see, we have different forms of for ты. Ты is you in the nominative case, тебя in the accusative, тебе in the dative, and we just saw right here that in the instrumental case, it's с тобой. So, yeah, different forms. Alright, so now, subjunctive-wise, you started learning a new tense called the imperfect subjunctive. However, you only know some basic uses of this tense, and you know what someone's talking about if they mention imperfect subjunctive to you. Here's an example of the imperfect subjunctive in Spanish. Si me hubieras dicho que ibas a llegar hoy, te habría esperado y habríamos ido a un restaurante. So you can see right here in Spanish, after si, meaning if, it always follows the subjunctive. If you have, if you, something, I would have. If you have a would after this clause, it's always used in the subjunctive mode. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the present subjunctive. Remember last time I said you should have some uses? Well, now I believe you do have to have a perfect use of this tense. You can talk about your wishes and uncertainties easily. You can distinguish a real statement and an unsure statement. For this example, I chose Italian. So che sei stato tu versus penso che sia stato tu. As you can see, the first one is a fact, meaning aka something you're sure of, therefore requires the indicative. And if we take a look at the second one, which is penso che sia stato tu, it's a thought and not necessarily 100% true, and thus requires the subjunctive. However, that's for Italian, but be careful, because not all languages have the same uses for the subjunctive. For example, if I say in Spanish, yo pienso que, meaning I think that, it doesn't require the subjunctive after it. But if I say no pienso que, meaning I don't think that, it does require the subjunctive after it. So just to show you that some languages have different usage of the subjunctive, because you just saw that after I think that in Italian, you need the subjunctive, unlike in Spanish, which also happens to be one of Italian's closest relatives. Okay, next up. Sometimes you may encounter mystery guests at the party that you may haven't heard of, such as rare verb tenses maybe. Believe it or not, but some languages have verb tenses that don't exist in many tongues, or heck, only exist in one language. A few notable examples would be the personal infinitive in Portuguese and the perfective and imperfective in Slavic languages. Here's an example of the personal infinitive. A Maria preparou o jantar para eles comerem. The personal infinitive in this example basically represents the Portuguese equivalent of Maria prepared dinner for them to eat. In case it could help some Portuguese learners get use of this special tense, so here we go. I hope I was able to help you with that one. Alright, so how many words should you know now? Around 8,000 words. You have the power, my friend. Nothing can stop you now. Heck, you know even words that you wouldn't necessarily use in your everyday life. For example, here are the Swedish words for to reuse, to conserve, to have a barbecue, and sunglasses, which are not very common words, especially the first three. So, att återanvända, att bevara, att grilla, and solglasögon. Some languages have a scary element. Long words, but don't worry everyone, this often represents multiple words in some other languages you know. A notable example would be the Finnish sentence juoksen telisinkohan, which means I wonder if I should run around aimlessly. That's pretty weird to you if you've never studied Finnish, but for some learners, this sentence is actually pretty funny. And if you take a look at the English sentence, it has 8 words versus 1 Finnish word group, which is crazy. And if we were to cut all the different parts of the sentence, we would get this. Juoksen, meaning I run, teli, meaning aimlessly, and sinkohan means wonder if. There you go. I believe that the most important aspect of it is obviously learning individual words first, and then to learn the long ones. What's next, you say? If you think that talking to yourself is awkward, I can guarantee you that it is an excellent way to practice your languages, especially if you have no one to practice the language with. My main tip would be to schedule a week to only talk to yourself in your current target language. And if you're learning multiple languages at once, then do 1 week for a language and then move on to the next language afterwards to see your progress. The point is, put your native language aside. The more time you spend with your language, the more you practice. And if you make 20 mistakes or less in 168 hours, you're golden. Now I also put a motivational speech to learn German in German. So here we go. Let's wait. Okay. Am Morgen will ich nur auf Deutsch sprechen. Ich lerne Deutsch seit 2018 und ich bin bereit, mich herauszufordern. Ich weiß, dass es am Anfang schwierig sein kann, aber für mich ist alles in Ordnung jetzt. Ich habe die Grammatik jeden Tag studiert und ich möchte gern fließend Deutsch sprechen. Wenn ich es wirklich will, dann kann ich es schaffen. Alright. So, you could also write short stories to practice writing. And I must say that if words come out easily, you have a great reason to celebrate. Here's an example of a short story I made up myself in French. C'est l'histoire d'un homme malheureux. La malchance le suivait peu importe où il allait. Lorsque les dames l'aperçoivent, elles s'enfuient. À chaque fois qu'il conduit sa voiture, il a un accident. Il n'avait qu'un seul ami, son chien Nick. Il avait reçu un cadeau lorsqu'il avait 5 ans. So yeah, it's just a short story I made up for this example, so I hope you enjoyed my short story. Yeah. Alright. Are you able to talk at an almost native light speed? If so, you go, man, you go. So here's an example I also made up in Dutch. Het spijt me, maar gisteren was ik te bezig om met jij te spreken. Nu kan ik je helpen. Vandaag werk ik niet en ik ben zo gelukkig. Gisteren kon ik niet slapen. Maar ik ontmoette iemand. Ze is mooi. Ik weet niet wat te doen. Ik ben bang en ik denk dat ik verliefd ben. So yeah, that was my example. So I hope I was fast enough. So let's move on to the final test. Alright, your final test, your final advanced one test, I recommend you to try to translate every conversation inside your head. By doing this, you can feel proud and still get language input even if you are working, for example. For example, you might hear, "Hi, yesterday I saw you at the supermarket. However, you were with your sister." And then immediately after you're hearing that, you translate in your head into Catalan for say, "Hola, ayer t'ho vist al supermercat. Tanmateix estaves amb la teva germana." So that's just an example. It can be any language, not just Catalan. So yeah, there we go. Okay. And this, my people, concludes today's video. So if you have enjoyed, share with all your friends and subscribe for more. Next time, we'll cover the final steps to complete mastery. In other words, how to go from C1 to C2. So see you guys later. Have fun. Bye.